Rising. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Today is a beautiful day to go out and vote. I am going to vote right after our morning meditation. Let's go. Grand Rising, good morning. Let's get this day on and pop in. Tomorrow we go back to doing some yoga poses because my back is finally feeling better. I'm feeling stronger. And so I'm going to play the singing bowl for you. Get comfortable wherever you are, and let's just begin. Today? What do you need to be filled with today? What thoughts do you need to be thinking today? How do you choose to move today? And on your exhale, you're releasing everything that does not serve you. If you woke up with pain, then when you inhale, you're sending love to that pain. If you woke up with worry, then you're sending love to your thoughts. You're sending love to your heart. What do you need today? Today I need focus, clarity, focused intention, to be organized, to be thoughtful, to find the words for all of the meetings that I have today with all of my students, to be able to be supportive and loving and generous and honest. I release any worry, any doubt, any shame, any fear, any sadness, any grief. I inhale hope, gratitude, love, joy. May I be joy in everything that I do today, joy in everything that I say today. Let's get into this all about love, new visions, bell hooks. I am actually going to take the book with me in a little bit, and I'm going to stand in line. I'm going to leave at, let me know when it's 9. Someone let me know when it's 9. Because I definitely want to finish this book today because I want to start something new tomorrow. Page 172. We're talking about romance, sweet love, romantic love, partnerships, loving relationships. Peck builds upon Fromm's definition when he describes love as the will to nurture one's own or another's spiritual growth, adding, the desire to love is not itself love. Love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and action. Will also implies choice. We do not have to love. We choose to love. Despite these brilliant insights and the wise counsel they offer, most people remain reluctant to embrace the idea that it is more genuine, more real, to think of choosing to love rather than falling in love. Describing our romantic longings in Life Preservers, therapist Harriet Lerner shares that most people want a partner who is mature and intelligent, loyal and trustworthy, loving and attentive, sensitive and open, kind and nurturing, competent and responsible. No matter the intensity of the desire, she concludes, few of us evaluate a prospective partner with the same objectivity and clarity that we might use to select a household appliance or car. Few of us evaluate a prospective partner. Are we evaluating the prospects with the same objectivity and clarity that we might use to select a household appliance or car, also known as a potato masher? We put more thought in a potato masher than the partners we're choosing for our lives. What? Where's the lie? To be capable of critically evaluating a partner, we would need to be able to stand back and look critically at ourselves, at our needs, desires, and longings. It was difficult for me to really take out a piece of paper and evaluate myself to see if I was able to give the love I wanted to receive. One more time for those in the back. It was difficult for me to really take out a piece of paper and evaluate myself to see if I was able to give the love that I wanted to receive. Boom, punto. We don't even have to finish reading. We will finish reading, but that's everything. We have this checklist of things that we want in our prospective lovers, and we have yet to become that for ourselves. We have yet to give that to ourselves. And even more difficult to make a list of the qualities I wanted to find in a mate. I listed 10 items. That's homework. We are creating a list of 10 items. And then when I applied the list to men I had chosen as potential partners, it was painful to face the discrepancy between what I wanted and what I had chosen to accept. We are looking for the holes. We are looking for the holes. We are looking for the holes. We are connecting the dots and saying, okay, this is what I say I want. So the homework is create a list of qualities we want in a mate. Then on a separate list, we're going to make a list of all of the partners we've had. And then we're going to begin to make arrows if that person met it and this person met it and that person met it. And then we're going to see all of these fucking holes and see all of the ways that we have dishonored ourselves and accepted things that are beneath what we say we want. And more importantly, we aren't even giving ourselves. So at the end of that, looking at our past and our lovers, we're going to go back and look at this list, and then we're going to check off, am I this person? Am I this person? Do I possess this quality? And if we don't, we know where we need to work, family. We know where the work begins. We want to jump and speak to La Santera and be like, so when is my mate coming? Have you done the work? Have you done the work that the ancestors are saying that you need to do in order to have the love that you want? Hello. We fear that evaluating our needs and then carefully choosing partners will reveal that there is no one for us to love. Most of us prefer to have a partner who is lacking than no partner at all. Ouch. Let me just write ouch, because a bitch felt that. What becomes apparent is that we may be more interested in finding a partner than in knowing love. Damn! Ouch. Double ouch. Time and time again, when I talk to individuals about approaching love with will and intentionality, I hear that the fear expressed that this will bring an end to romance. This is simply not so. Approaching romantic love from a foundation of care, a foundation of knowledge, a foundation of respect, actually intensifies romance. Are we hearing what our foundations have? Foundation of care, knowledge, and respect intensifies romance. By taking the time to communicate with a potential mate, we are no longer trapped by the fear and anxiety underlying romantic interactions that take place without discussion or the sharing of intent and desire. I talked with a woman friend who stated that she had always been extremely fearful of sexual encounters, even when she knew someone well and desired them. Her fear was rooted in childhood. Previously, her encounters with men had only intensified that shame. Usually, men made light of her anxiety. I suggested she might try meeting with the new man in her life over lunch, with the set agenda of talking to him about sexual pleasure, their likes and dislikes, their hopes and fears. Write it down. Let's begin talking to people about our sexual pleasure, our likes and dislikes, our safety words, our hopes and fears. She didn't put safety words in there, but I'm just, ad-libbing. She reported back that the lunch was incredibly erotic. It laid the groundwork for them to be at ease with each other sexually when they finally reached the stage in their relationship. Communication. Communication, family. Erotic attraction often serves as the catalyst for an intimate connection between two people, but it is not a sign of love. Erotic attraction is not a sign of love. Exciting, pleasurable sex can take place between two people who do not know each other. Yet the vast majority of males in our society are convinced that their erotic longing indicates who they should and can love. Led by their penis, seduced by erotic desire, they often end up in relationship with partners with whom they share no common interests or values. For the list, common interests and values. The pressure on men in a patriarchal society to perform sexually is so great that men are often so gratified to be with someone with whom they find sexual pleasure that they ignore everything else. They cover up these mistakes by working too much or finding playmates they like outside their committed marriage or partnership. It usually takes them a long time to name the lovelessness they may feel. And this recognition usually has to be covered up to protect the sexist insistence that men never admit failure. Women rarely choose men solely on the basis of erotic connection. While most females acknowledge the importance of sexual pleasure, they recognize that it is not the only ingredient needed to build strong relationships. And let's face it, the sexism of stereotyping women as caregivers makes it acceptable for women to articulate emotional needs. So females are socialized to be more concerned about emotional connection. Women who have only named their erotic hunger in the wake of the permission given by the feminist movement and sexual liberation have always been able to speak their hunger for love. This does not mean that we find the love we long for. Like males, we often settle for lovelessness because we are attracted to other aspects of a partner's makeup. Shared sexual passion can be a sustaining and binding force in a troubled relationship, but it is not the proving ground for love.
This is one of the great sadnesses of life. Too often, women and some men have their most intense erotic pleasure with partners who wound them in other ways. The intensity of sexual intimacy does not serve as a catalyst for respect, care, understanding, and commitment. Couples who rarely or never have sex can know lifelong love. That part. Couples who rarely or never have sex can know lifelong love. I'm sorry I had to repeat that because that kind of even shocked me. Sexual pleasure enhances the bonds of love. Sexual pleasure enhances the bonds of love. But they can exist and satisfy when sexual desire is absent. Ultimately, most of us would choose great love over sustained sexual passion if we had to. Luckily, we do not have to make this choice because we usually have satisfying erotic pleasure with our loved one. The best sex and the most satisfying sex are not the same. I have had great sex with men who were intimate terrorists, men who seduce and attract by giving you just what you feel your heart needs, then gradually or abruptly withholding it once they have gained your trust. That part. And I have been deeply sexually fulfilled in bonds with loving partners who have had less skill and know-how. Because of sexist socialization, women tend to put sexual satisfaction in its appropriate perspective. We acknowledge its value without allowing it to become the absolute measure of intimate connection. Enlightened women want fulfilling erotic encounters as much as men, but we ultimately prefer erotic satisfaction within a context where there is loving, intimate connection. If men were socialized to desire love as much as they are taught to desire sex, we would see a cultural revolution. As it stands, most men tend to be more concerned about sexual performance and sexual satisfaction than whether they are capable of giving and receiving love. Even though sex matters, most of us are no more able to articulate sexual needs and longings than we are able to speak our desire for love. Ironically, the presence of life-threatening sexually transmitted diseases has become the reason more couples communicate with each other about erotic behavior. The very people, many of them men, who had heretofore claimed that too much talk made things less romantic, find that talk does not threaten pleasure at all. It merely changes its nature. Where once knowing nothing was the basis for excitement and erotic intensity, knowing more is now the basis. Lots of people who feared a loss of romantic and or erotic intensity made this radical change in their thinking and were surprised to find that their previous assumptions that talk killed romance were wrong. Cultural acceptance of this change shows that we are all capable of shifting our paradigms, the foundational ways of thinking and doing things that become habitual. We are all capable of changing our attitudes about falling in love. We can acknowledge the click we feel when we meet someone new as just that, a mysterious sense of connection that may or may not have anything to do with love. However, it could or could not be the primal connection while simultaneously acknowledging that it will lead us to love. I love that. I love that. I love that the click is just that. It's an instant click. It is not love at first sight. It is not that. It is we clicked, there's a chemistry, there is something, there is an attraction there where it's sexual, whatever it is, we feel drawn in. Then comes the work of can we build this love? That's not love, man. How different things might be if rather than saying, I think I'm in love, we were saying, I've connected with someone in a way that makes me think I'm on the way to knowing love. That part. Or instead of saying I'm in love, we said I am loving or I will love. Our patterns around romantic love are unlikely to change if we do not change our language. I love that. I'm going to read that again. How different things might be. Rather than saying, I think I'm in love, we were saying, I've connected with someone in a way that makes me think I'm on the way to knowing love, to knowing actual love, to knowing deep love, real love, honest love, genuine love, mature love, healthy love, equal love, respectful love, mutual love. It's different, y'all. Or instead of saying I'm in love, we said I'm loving, I am loving, I will love. I am open to love. I am love. Our patterns around romantic love are unlikely to change if we do not change our language. We are all uncomfortable with the conventional expressions we used to talk about romantic love. All of us feel that these expressions and the thinking behind them are one of the reasons we entered relationships that did not work. In retrospect, we see that to a grave extent, the way we talked about these bonds foreshadowed what happened in the relationship. I certainly changed the way I talk and think about love in response to the emotional lack I felt within myself and in my relationships, starting with clear definitions of love, of feeling, intention, and will. I no longer enter relationships with the lack of awareness that leads me to make all bonds the site for repeating old patterns. Starting with clear definitions of love, write that down. I am starting with a clear definition of love, where I define the feeling of love, where I define my intention in love, and where I define my will to love, my willingness to love and be loved. I am committed to no longer entering relationships where I lack awareness that lead me to make bonds and bonds from repeating old patterns, right? Rewrite it as an affirmation. Rewrite it. I am committed to redefining love, my feelings of love, the way I deserve to be loved, the way I need to be loved, the way I intend to show and express love, right? It is my will. Although I have experienced many disappointments in my quest to love and be loved, I still believe in the transformative power of love. Disappointment has not led me to close my heart. However, the more I talk with people around me, I find disappointment to be widespread, and it does lead many folks to feel profoundly cynical about love. A lot of people simply think we make too much of love. Our culture may make much of love as compelling fantasy or myth, but it does not make much of the art of loving. Our disappointment about love is directed at romantic love. We fail at romantic love when we have not learned the art of loving. It is as simple as that. Often we confuse perfect passion with perfect love. A perfect passion happens when we meet someone who appears to have everything we have wanted to find in a partner. I say appears because the intensity of our connection usually blinds us. We see what we want to see. In Soulmates, Thomas More contends that the enchantment of romantic illusion has its place, and that the soul thrives on ephemeral fantasies, while perfect passion provides us with its own particular pleasure and danger. For those of us seeking perfect love, it can only ever be a preliminary stage in the process. We can only move from perfect passion to perfect love when the illusions pass and we are able to use the energy and intensity generated by intense, overwhelming, erotic bonding to heighten self-discovery. Perfect passions
usually end when we awaken from our enchantment and find only that we have been carried away from ourselves. That is the lie, that is the illusion, that is the fantasy. That's not real. That's not real. It becomes perfect love when our passion gives us the courage to face reality, to embrace our true selves, acknowledging this meaningful link between perfect passion and perfect love. From the onset of a relationship can be the necessary inspiration that empowers us to choose love. When we love by intention and will, by showing care, respect, knowledge, and responsibility, our love satisfies. Individuals who want to believe that there is no fulfillment in love, that true love does not exist, cling to these assumptions because this despair is actually easier to face than the reality that love is a real fact of life, but is absent from their lives. In the last 2 years, I have talked a lot about love. My topic has been true love. It all started when I began to speak my heart's desire and to say to friends, lecture audiences, folks sitting next to me on buses and planes and in restaurants that I was looking for true love. This. Cynically, almost all my listeners would let me know that I was looking for a myth. The few who still believe in true love offer their deep conviction that you can't look for it, that if it's meant for you, it will just happen. Not only do I believe wholeheartedly that true love exists, I embrace the idea that its occurrence is a mystery, that it happens without any effort of human will, and if that's the case, then it will happen whether we look for it or not. But we do not lose love by looking for it. Indeed, those among us who have been hurt, disappointed, disillusioned, must open our hearts if we want love to enter. Here's a message for the disappointed and the hurt and the disillusioned. I open my heart to love. I am opening up my heart for love to enter. I am making space in my heart for love to enter. I am opening up my heart for love to enter. I know that feels uncomfortable. The act of opening is a way of seeking love. When you open your heart, you're saying yes. I'm saying yes to love. I have had a taste of true love. That experience intensifies my longing and my desire. She makes me want to write about love, yo. I have had a taste of true love. That experience intensifies my longing and my desire to search. A true love in my life first appeared to me in a dream. I had been invited to a conference on film and was reluctant to attend. I hate being bombarded by lots of new ideas at one time. It feels to me like overeating. Yet I had a dream in which I was told that if I went to this conference, I would meet a man of my dreams. Images in the dream were so vivid and real that I awakened with a sense of necessity. I called a girlfriend and told her my story. She agreed to go to the conference with me as my witness. A few weeks later, we arrived at the conference in the middle of a session in which speakers were on stage. I pointed to the man whose image had appeared in my dream. After the session, I met him and we talked. Meeting him was like seeing a long-lost relative or friend. We went to dinner. There was a feeling of mutual recognition between us from the start. It was as though we knew each other. As our conversation progressed, he told me he was in a committed relationship. I was puzzled and disturbed. I could not believe divine forces in the universe would lead me to this man of my dreams when there was no real possibility of fully realizing those dreams. Of course, those dreams were all about being in a romantic relationship. That was the beginning of a difficult lesson in true love. Yes! I don't know which to say is my favorite chapter. How are we doing on time? What time is it? How are we doing on time?
I'm opening my heart to love. I'm opening my heart for love to enter. Heart healing, Ache. Of course, love exists. Body care. This reading is for all of us. Absolutely, this reading is for men. Absolutely. I know there are men in here getting loved on. Yes, to Mary J. Blige. I'm going to have to play that as I walk to vote. What time is it, family? 5:42, 8:42. Let's finish this chapter. And then let's go for a walk. I learned that we may meet a true love and that our lives may be transformed by such an encounter, even when it does not lead to sexual pleasure, committed bonding, or even sustained contact. The myth of true love, that fairy tale vision of two souls who meet, join, and live happily thereafter, is the stuff of childhood fantasy. Yet many of us, female and male, carry these fantasies into adulthood and are unable to cope with the reality of what it means either to have an intense, life-altering connection that will not lead to an ongoing relationship, or to be in a... Let me read that again. Yet many of us, female and male, carry these fantasies into adulthood and are unable to cope with the reality of what it means to either have an intense, life-altering connection that will not lead to an ongoing relationship, or to be in a relationship. Full stop. She points our attention to, we may have this crazy chemistry and connection to someone, but that does not mean that they are our twin flame, that they are our soulmate, that they are forever. It is that intensity, that intense connection in that moment. And we have to begin to see it as such. True love does not always lead to happily ever after. And even when it does, sustaining love still takes work. All relationships have ups and downs. Romantic fantasy often nurtures the belief that difficulties and downtimes are an indication of a lack of love rather than part of the process. In actuality, true love thrives on the difficulties. Ache. Yes. The foundation of such love is the assumption that we want to grow and expand, to become more fully ourselves. There is no change that does not bring with it a feeling of challenge and loss. When we experience true love, it may feel as though our lives are in danger. We may feel threatened. True love is different from the love that is rooted in basic care, goodwill, and just plain old everyday attraction. Let me read that again, because that bears rereading. True love is different from the love that is rooted in basic care. That means I am taking care of you. I am fully invested. Let me tell you, I'm reading this section and I'm thinking about my parents who will be celebrating 51 years of marriage. And as my mother is in her tercera edad, in her 70s, approaching 80, the love and care that he puts into her, pours into her, the tenderness that he pours into her, this is what we're talking about. Are we choosing partners that would take care of us when we age? That would stick around? True love is different from the love that is rooted in basic care, goodwill, and just plain old everyday attraction. We are all continually attracted to folks. We like their style, the way they think, the way they look, etc., whom we know that, given a chance, we could love in a heartbeat. In his insightful book, Love and Awakening, Discovering the Sacred Path of Intimate Relationship, John Wellwood makes a useful distinction between the type of attraction familiar to us all, which he calls a heart connection. Another type he calls a soul connection. Yes. Here is how he defines it. A soul connection is a resonance between two people who respond to the essential beauty of each other's individual natures, behind their facades, and who connect on a deeper level. This kind of mutual recognition provides the catalyst for a potential alchemy. It is a sacred alliance whose purpose is to help both partners discover and realize their deepest potentials. That's my best friend, Lalita. We have a soul connection. While a heart connection lets us appreciate those we love just as they are, a soul connection opens up a further dimension, seeing and loving them for who they could be and for who we could become under their influence. What? Can you imagine a love that profound? So much love that it allows me to be who I am, right? They see me for who I am and who I could be. And at the same time, who I could become under their influence. That just being around them makes me strive to be better, work harder, fall in love with myself deeper. That's love, yo. Making a heart connection with someone is usually not a difficult process. Throughout our lives, we meet, give me a soul connection any day of the week. Throughout our lives, we meet lots of people with whom we feel that special click that could take us on the path of love. But this click is not the same as a soul connection. Often a deep bonding with another person, a soul connection happens whether we will it to be or not. Indeed, sometimes we are drawn towards someone without knowing why. Even when we do not desire contact, several couples I talked with who have found true love enjoyed telling the story of how one of them did not find the other at all appealing at first meeting, even though they felt mysteriously joined to that individual. In all cases where individuals felt that they had known true love, everyone testified that the bonding was not easy or simple. To many folks, this seems confusing precisely because our fantasy of true love is that it will be just that, simple and easy. That's the lie. This is not easy. This is not easy. And it requires this soul connection begins with that soul connection with you. Because until you have that soul connection with you, you can't possibly have a soul connection with anyone. Usually we imagine that true love will be intensely pleasurable and romantic, full of love and light. In truth, true love is all about work. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wisely observed, like so much else, people have also misunderstood the place of love in life. They have made it into play and pleasure because they thought that play and pleasure was more blissful than work. But there is nothing happier than work and love just because it is the extreme happiness. Just because it is the extreme happiness can be nothing else but work. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Like so much else, people have also misunderstood the place of love in life. They have made it into play and pleasure because they thought that play and pleasure was more blissful than work. But there is nothing happier than work and love. Just because it is the extreme happiness can be nothing else but work. The essence of true love is mutual recognition. Two individuals seeing each other as they really are. I don't know how else we can say that. We all know that the usual approach is to meet someone we like and put our best self forward, or even, at times, a false self, one we believe will be more appealing to the person we want to attract. When our real self appears in its entirety, when the good behavior becomes too much to maintain or the masks are taken away, disappointment comes. All too often, individuals feel after the fact, when feelings are hurt and hearts are broken, that it was a case of mistaken identity, that the loved one is a stranger. They saw what they wanted to see rather than what was really there. This is the shit, though. This is the disappointment at the end, that we go back and we're like, they're not who they say they were, but they were exactly who they say they are. You just chose to see what you wanted to see. You chose to hear what you wanted to hear. You did not love them for who they are. You did not. You absolutely did not. I did not. We did not. Let's know this shit together. We did not. We did not see them for who they are. We saw them for the idea of what we wanted them to be, the potential, this creation and fantasy and myth that we stay holding on to, and we keep getting it wrong. How do we get it right? We love people for who they are. We accept them for who they are. And we don't try to change them. That's another mistake that many of us try to make. No, we cannot change anyone. They are who they are. This is their journey. This is their life. If they choose to change, that's on them. But they're not going to change to become some ideal for us. Are we changing to meet some ideal for them? May we be more of what we say we want from others. What we expect from others to bring to the party, may we be bringing the same shit. May you match that same energy. True love is a different story. When it happens, individuals usually feel in touch with each other's core identity. When it happens, true love is you're in touch with each other's core identity. Okay? Are you in touch with my core identity? Am I in touch with your core identity? There's a meditation and reflection. What is your core identity? Let's think about that for a minute. Alicia's core identity. Let's go. Let's break it down. My core identity is I'm honest. I'm raw. I'm loud. I'm loving. I am generous. I am kind. I can be nasty. I can be controlling. I can be insecure. I can be triggered. I can be angry. Did I say that? I can be filled with rage. I can be scary. My core identity. My core identity, what's at the middle, what meets at the middle and intersects with all of these identities, is that I am love. Above all things. Above all my qualities and characteristics and quirks and things that people may like or dislike about me, love or hate about me. I am love. And no one can take that from me. I am love. And so I attract that. And I also demand that. My core needs your core to be that, or we can't fuck with each other. Embarking on such a relationship is frightening precisely because we feel there is no place to hide. We are known. All the ecstasy that we feel emerges as this love nurtures us and challenges us to grow and transform. Describing true love, Eric Butterworth writes, true love is a peculiar kind of insight through which we see the wholeness which the person is, at the same time totally accepting the level on which he now expresses himself, without any delusion that the potential is a present reality. One more time. True love is a peculiar kind of insight through which we see the wholeness of which the person is, this whole person, as they are, their core identity, all of their qualities. At the same time, totally accepting the level on which he now expresses himself. And you accept the way I express myself. You don't try to change me. You love me as I am. You accept me totally. And that's the shit. We accept certain things without any delusion that the potential is a present reality. Potential is the illusion. So when we say I'm in love with their potential, you're already knowing that you're starting that loving partnership on the wrong foot in ways that will not feel good for either party, because it's too much responsibility to meet your fucking fantasy. I'm not trying to meet your fantasy. That's too much. Don't put that on me. True love accepts the person who now is without qualifications, but with a sincere and unwavering commitment to help him to achieve his goals of self-unfoldment. Hello. Adding that to my list of qualifications. You are invested in my self-unfoldment. You must be invested in my self-unfoldment in the ways that I am invested in your self-unfoldment. Yes. Yes. Most of the time we think that love means just accepting the other person as they are. Who among us has not learned the hard way that we cannot change someone, mold them, and make them into the ideal beloved we might want them to be? Yet, when we commit to true love, we are committed to being changed, to being acted upon by the beloved in a way that enables us to be more fully self-actualized. Yes, this commitment to change is chosen. It happens by mutual agreement. By mutual agreement. Yes. Again and again in conversations, the most common vision of true love I have heard shared was that declared it to be unconditional. True love is unconditional, but to truly flourish, it requires an ongoing commitment to constructive struggle and change. There is a vow for a wedding. I am committed to constructive struggle and change. How about that? I'm committed to hard fucking work. I am committed to being in the ditch with you. The heartbeat of true love is the willingness to reflect on one's actions and to process and communicate this reflection with the loved one. As Wellwood puts it, two beings who have a soul connection want to engage in a full, free-ranging dialogue and commune with each other as deeply as possible. Honesty and openness is always the foundation of insightful dialogue. Most of us have not been raised in homes where we have seen two deeply loving grown folks talking together. We do not see this on television or at the movies. And how can any of us communicate with men who have been told all their lives that they should not express what they feel? Men who want to love and do not know how must first come to voice, must learn to let their heart speak, and then to speak truth. Yes. Yes. Let's talk about love with our men. That's a workshop. That's a workshop. Men and love. Men and first loves. Choosing to be fully honest, to reveal ourselves is risky. The experience of true love gives us the courage to risk. As long as we are afraid to risk, we cannot know love. Hence the truism. Love is letting go of fear. Our hearts connect with lots of folks in a lifetime, but most of us will go to our graves with no experience of true love. This is in no way tragic, as most of us run the other way when true love comes near. Since true love sheds light on those aspects of ourselves we may wish to deny or hide, enabling us to see ourselves clearly and without shame,
It is not surprising that so many individuals who say they want to know love turn away when such love beckons. I will not run from love. That's an affirmation. I will not run from love. Let's go to the kitchen. Let's put on this toast. And let's read these last 2 pages and start this beautiful day. Let's go. This chapter, though. What time is it? This book is so good. We're finishing this book today, so that we can begin to practice. Good morning, yo. This chapter is beautiful. 8:55. Let's make this toast. Let's finish this chapter. Let's go. How are we feeling? How you feeling? It's 9:04. It's all right. We going to vote today. We going to vote. We're going to vote. We're going to vote. I know many of us are feeling like, why bother? We're feeling super disillusioned. For me, casting my vote is power. And as I move, I've always loved voting. I think one of the happiest moments of my life was being able to vote for Barack Obama. Both times. I was very happy. I was very happy to vote for him. And I was in, I voted early because I was traveling throughout Latin America working on the documentary Afro Latinos. And I was in Peru. I was in Cusco, Peru, writing, one of my greatest works is writing about the African diaspora in Latin America. And so I was in Peru when Barack won, and I had mad people save me every single newspaper because that was such a historic moment. And so for me, when I think about the suffragist movement and when I think about Black people having the right to vote and the ways that our ancestors have died for us to have this right, believe what we want to believe. It is our civic duty. I believe that. It is our civic duty. Because then we can spend the next 4 years complaining and being sad. I'm going to vote. I want to vote with you. We're going to go. I'm going to be in line reading about love and, that's it. Not going to sway you to vote in any direction. Just get out there and do this for, I felt a Grease song coming on. Let's do it for our country. Grease 2. Listen, it's hard out here, yo. I know some of us are feeling like, fuck a vote. And you ain't wrong. You're not wrong. Like, if you haven't been paying attention to these last 4 years, I don't know, I don't know where you live. That's self-preservation at its best. All right, this chapter ready? Page 186, bell hooks.
No matter how often we turn our minds and hearts away, or how stubbornly we refuse to believe in its magic, true love exists. Everyone wants it, even those who claim to have given up hope, but not everyone is ready. True love appears only when our hearts are ready. A few years ago, I was sick and had one of those cancer scares where the doctor tells you if the tests are positive, you will not have long to live. Hearing his words, I lay there thinking, I could not possibly die because I'm not ready. Sorry, I got a little choked. I could not possibly die because I'm not ready. I have not known true love. Right then, I committed myself to opening my heart. I was ready to receive such love, and it came. This relationship did not last forever, and that was difficult to face. All the romantic lore of our culture has told us when we find true love with a partner, it will continue, yet this partnership lasts only if both parties remain committed to being loving. Not everyone can bear the weight of true love. Wounded hearts turn away from love because they do not want to do the work of healing necessary to sustain and nurture love. Wounded hearts turn away from love because they do not want to do the work of healing necessary to sustain and nurture love. Many wounded hearts turn away from love. They run from love. They hide from love. They block love because they don't want to do the work of healing so that you could sustain, so that we could sustain and nurture love. Many men, especially often turn away from true love and choose relationships in which they can be emotionally withholding when they feel like it, but still receive love from someone else. Ultimately, they choose power over love. To know and keep true love, we have to be willing to surrender the will to power. When one knows a true love, the transformative force of that love lasts even when we no longer have the company of the person with whom we experience profound mutual care and growth. Thomas Merton writes, we discover our true selves in love. Many of us are not ready to accept and embrace our true selves, particularly when living with integrity alienates us from our familiar worlds. Often, when we undergo a process of self-discovery, recovery, for a time we may find ourselves more alone. Writing about choosing solitude over company that does not nurture one's soul, Maya Angelou reminds us that it is never lonesome in Babylon. Fear of facing true love may actually lead some individuals to remain in situations of lack and unfulfillment. There they are not alone. They are not at risk. To love fully and deeply puts us at risk. I will risk love. Oh shit, it's 1 minute. Let me finish this in 1 minute. When we love, we are changed utterly. Merton asserts, love affects more than our thinking and our behavior towards those we love. It transforms our entire life. Genuine love is a personal revolution. Love takes our ideas, your desires, and your actions and welds them together in one experience and one loving reality which is new to you. We often are in flight from the new you. Richard Bach's autobiographical love story, Illusions, describes both his flight from love and his return. To return to love, he had to be willing to sacrifice and surrender, to let go of the fantasy of being someone with no sustained emotional needs, to acknowledge his needs to love and be loved. We sacrifice our old selves in order to be changed by love, and we surrender to the power of the new self. Love, within the context of romantic bondings, offers us the unique chance to be transformed. I'm going to stop. I love you. I will finish this last page in line. I love you.